How will Daniel Radcliffe apologize to J.K. Rowling? Jo said she wouldn't accept it automatically, but it's not like she never would, because she did basically specify the road back that Daniel would need to complete before she would even consider it. Like, there's other people Daniel needs to make it up to first, before he attempts to do so with Jo. The words sorry or apologize wouldn't have much meaning until Daniel Radcliffe makes it up to the people he affected. So we're going to start off in this video with the indicators that Daniel's apology is incoming. You can tell it's on the way. And after that, we'll take a look at what Daniel Radcliffe's atonement could look like, or at least a general idea. Currently, though, as we dive into this now, technically the disagreement is still active, so let's talk about that disagreement. It started in 2020 when Jo was seeing things change in society and decided she needed to speak up about it. She wasn't going to stand by and say nothing, in other words. So she offered her legally protected opinions and viewpoints, and once she spoke up about it, it didn't exactly go very well. Some days it felt like the only person who was standing with her was Riley Gaines, who is known for being a college swimmer. But Daniel Radcliffe disagreed with Jo, and it was a deal-breaker for him. That was pretty much the stance of the three main actors, with Emma Watson and Rupert Grint. They all signed on when Daniel condemned Jo. Another person who disagreed with Jo was Evanna Lynch, the actress who played Luna Lovegood. Evanna was also joined by Simone Biles, the Olympic gymnast. Okay, so this was how the dust settled in the year 2020. But after some time passed, Evanna Lynch did some reflection and ultimately realized that she, in fact, did agree with Jo. Evanna said that her 2020 stance was naive and that she was kind of roped into the whole thing in a bit of a whirlwind. But meanwhile, Simone Biles is out there fighting the fight for the cause she believes in, disagreeing with Jo and the rest. This culture war had her butting heads with Riley Gaines, and Simone went full Cartman on her, saying, Riley Gaines, not even that hot, kind of looks like a dude. This did not go well for Simone. In about 24 hours, Simone bent the knee and acknowledged that, in fact, she did understand why she agreed with Jo. And it's not like she gave a shout-out to Jo, but she now agreed regarding this topic. Alright, so here's how to determine that Daniel's apology is incoming, even if we don't know when. The only changes of people's stance that we're seeing is moving from disagree to agree, at least as far as I know. Does anyone out there know of the vice versa, in the other direction? Have there been any public figures that initially agreed with Jo and then spent the past 5 years thinking it over and reassessed the result to end up in disagreement? Otherwise, all that's happening is people gradually making it back to Dumbledore's side, and Pedro Pascal getting more aggressive. And of course, there's many other people who have remained in disagreement the entire time, but there's no reason to mention who, because today is just showing you the range of those folks who reconsidered their position, Riley, who had the same stance the whole time, and also the three main characters of the Harry Potter movies, since they took a definitive stance so severe that they cut ties with Jo. So I personally cannot tell Daniel exactly what he needs to do in order to atone for this situation. But I'm now going to float a few hypothetical options where Daniel could do something within this general type of premise. For example, Daniel could go to a shelter and talk to the management and get a sense of their charter and how things are set up, and then just write a quick book report style, simple summary of how things are managed there and whether Daniel agrees with all of it, or if there are inadequacies, you can suggest how to improve. Here's the next sort of option to consider. Do you know the championship team that Riley Gaines was talking about? Daniel would need to go to the team that they defeated and set up a reunion banquet, one night only, and it's Harry Potter themed, and Daniel will be in character for the first hour and during the keynote remarks, but after that he can just chillax in Q&A mode to mingle with people at the banquet. Alright, here's one more atonement component. Daniel will need to review the Olympic Committee's current policy regarding the topic where he disagrees with Jo, specifically with that clause involving the age of 12. So Daniel will need to demonstrate an understanding of what exactly is required to happen before the age of 12 in order to meet that clause. Like pretty much a specific itemized list. X, Y, Z, P, Q, all of it. Now, I don't know much about what that list even looks like. I'm not an expert on this topic, and I don't need to be one, because I haven't made firm demands to the planet like Daniel Radcliffe has. The big difference is that Joe bullies ideas. Daniel Radcliffe bullies Joe. And listen, Joe may very well have other demons to confront, Joe may have other dementors to confront, but today's discussion is only about the topic of that disagreement. I don't want to make it seem like Joe is completely off the hook. Joe is a writer. And if they're gonna make video games based on the world within the books, why would Joe be okay with that title, Hogwarts Legacy? That totally misuses the word legacy. If anything, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are the legacy of all those precursor wizards in the 1800s. If you're going to misuse a word like that, and then meanwhile Daniel Radcliffe's big beef with you is about words, come on with this. Hogwarts Legacy would accurately be a futuristic Harry Potter game experience. What does wizardry look like in 5,000 years from now? Harry's heroism mattered, didn't it? So what are the distant future effects? You guys have seen Tron Legacy, and you know what you're getting with that. You're a writer, Joe. Now, like I said, Daniel Radcliffe doesn't have to do these atonement paths exactly as I described. The point is that he's doing these types of things to demonstrate that he has come to agree with Joe on the day that that were to occur. That's how he could prove it. Now, today's focus was Daniel Radcliffe, and a lot of it does apply to Emma and Rupert as well, but everyone's path to atonement is different. This final piece here about Emma and Rupert now is the finale. So from here on out, the video could literally end at any time without notification. And this has been Alex Yard here at 91.6 WAYZ, the Alex Yard Zone, terrestrial internet radio deep in the heart of Boston. Okay, ask me, if Emma were to say the word sorry, at that point, she would pretty much already be covered by the movie she starred in, Little Women, adapted by Greta Gerwig, in 2019, right before all this happened. The book Little Women is one of Joe's biggest favorite inspirations after all, so that would already be more than enough. Now, as for Rupert, if he canonically apologized, he would need to then do a sort of indirect movie tribute for Joe. And this new movie would be written and directed by Rupert and his collaborators. Now, he's not going to write a story in the Harry Potter universe, but the starting point kernel of the premise is this. You know how Ron and Hermione got together in the end and it was sort of controversial and regrettable? Okay, Rupert will instead imagine a what-if scenario where Ron ended up with this other character instead. Take those two personalities, and as the years progress, the dynamic becomes more interesting, and there's your general premise, but it's a totally new, unconnected experience. Rupert plays the guy, but no casting connections to Harry Potter, no plot point retreads, just the continued chemistry legacy of Ron Weasley ending up with Luna Lovegood, or whoever. If you know who Ron Weasley should have ended up with, you'll know it. It will feel right.